So it's an honor for me to be a guest teacher today. I regularly teach out in Carmel Valley at the Santa Lucia Preserve and in Carmel at Be Well Personal Training in the Barnyard area, and in Monterey at Montelisi Family Chiropractic. So you can find me at all those places. And yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I have some social media sites that you can follow me on, Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, of course, and Yelp. So feel free to leave a review after. I'd love your feedback. My business name is Woodhall Wellness, so you can find me online there at my website, woodhallwellness.com. And I train clients outdoors, and my newest venture is kids yoga, so I'm excited to start some classes around town doing that. So here we are on Monday evening. Welcome to class. As we begin to settle into our practice this evening, you'll find yourselves in a comfortable seated position, supported by the blanket so that the hips are hopefully above the knees, supporting the spine. And we just take a moment to relax the face and close the eyes. We begin to tune into the breath. We begin noticing the physical body. And just checking in to see how everything's feeling right now. We begin to deepen the breath, relaxing the eyes, relaxing the face. After being drawn in so many different directions throughout the day, now is the time to bring it inward. So we bring that focus to the heart center. We bring that focus and awareness to our breath pattern. And as we sit here together, we begin to shift the breathing to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. So intentionally changing that pattern. Inhaling again through the nose as we lengthen through the crown of the head. And as we exhale through the mouth, we feel heavy in the sit bones. We feel the floor supporting our body weight. And we just find this nice rhythm that feels good for you today. This breath will stay with us throughout our practice. And it's always something you can come back to lean on when the mind starts to wander. We bring that awareness back to the breath. As we inhale together, we'll begin sweeping the fingertips out to the sides, gazing towards the ceiling as palms find each other. Exhaling, releasing the hands to the heart center. Again, we inhale, we sweep wide, we activate the fingers, we absorb the air, we exhale the palms back down to the heart. On the next exhale, we begin to press the palms together, so creating some tension between wrists and elbows and shoulders. And on the inhale, we'll just allow the palms to float away, the fingers will still touch. On the next exhale, again, we press the palms together and we notice the navel engaging, the abdominal muscles contracting. And as we inhale, we release the belly, we release the palms. Again, as we exhale, we press the palms and bringing awareness to the space between the pelvis and the sit bones, the perineum. We start to draw the energy up the spine to the heart center. We bind, we hold, we lock. And on the exhale, we release and let go. The palms again float away from each other. Again, we exhale and press the palms. Again, engaging that Mula Bandha, we draw the energy up the spine to the heart. we engage the core. So we'll use this throughout our practice today. When I remind you to engage the Mula Bandha, this is what it's going to feel like. And as we exhale, we just release the palms to the knees. Inhaling, we lift the shoulders up to the ears and draw the shoulder blades back down the spine, opening the heart center. Again, we inhale, we lift and squeeze, and exhale, we drop the shoulders back. Again, inhaling a few more times, we'll move through this rhythm. And just focus on the breath movement connection. So we inhale, we lift, we exhale, we drop. We relax the face. We might want to close the eyes to really feel into the spine and the shoulders. And as we lift this next time, we create some contraction and squeeze the shoulders as hard as we can up to the ears, creating some tension. On the exhale, we'll let go of the shoulders, noticing the heaviness in the body, that space between the ears and the shoulders. On the inhale, we draw the eyes to the ceiling and open the front of the throat. On the exhale, the chin tucks down, opening the back of the neck. Again, inhaling, eyes will lift. On the exhale, we tuck the chin. As we inhale again, we lift. And as we exhale, we find a neutral neck. On the next inhale, we gaze over the left shoulder. So gazing with the eyes as far as they can look. The head will follow, the shoulders will follow, the chest will follow. And on the exhale, we begin to unwind through center. We head over to the opposite side. We gaze over the shoulder. With the eyes as far as they'll look, the head follows, the shoulder follows. And as we exhale, we come back to center. Just restacking the spine, maybe retracting the chin, noticing how the whole torso is resting above the hips. And if at any time the knees become uncomfortable in this position, feel free to just shimmy and take care of yourself if you need to adjust. On our next inhale, we'll drop the left ear to the left shoulder. And then if you'd like a deeper stretch, feel free to assist with the fingertips. We can draw the shoulder and the ear a bit further away from each other. And just find that breath again. Nice and slow and steady. Inhaling, we'll release the palms. We switch sides. We tuck the ear to the shoulder. And maybe we assist with the fingers. Just finding that breath. Encouraging the relaxation. As we release the fingers, we restack the spine. We unwind. We place palms on the knees. On the next inhale, we begin to place palms on the belly. So we feel the navel, we feel the low rib cage. As we inhale, we lengthen through the crown and we inhale through the nose. And as we exhale, again, we open the mouth, we exhale loud. We inhale, we allow the belly to fill with air. On the exhale, the navel draws into the spine. Again, inhaling, finding that nice pattern. And on the exhale, the navel draws in. So as we continue this breath pattern, we start to invite the Ujjayi breath in. So we inhale through the nose, and through the mouth, we begin to exhale with a bit of a whisper in the back of the throat, as if you're fogging up a mirror with your breath. So the inhale through the nose and the exhale. So this creates internal body temperature. It helps to regulate the breath. We continue inhaling through the nose and exhaling with your Ujjayi. Helps to focus the mind as well. And our last few breaths, we'll begin to close the mouth. So we'll bring that inhale, exhale through the nose, but keeping that nice whisper in the throat. So we'll practice together, inhaling Maintaining that nice whisper. Inhaling, filling the belly. Exhale through the nose. And on our next exhale, we begin to release the palms. Again, we sweep out to the sides. We gaze towards the ceiling. On the exhale, the palms once again find the heart. On our next inhale, we begin to twist over the right side. So the left palm will find the right knee as we bank the fingertips behind the spine. Again, as we always inhale and lengthen, we exhale and we twist. And staying here for a few deep breaths. On each exhale, we get much deeper. We relax a bit more. And as we release, we head through center. We transition to the opposite side. We place the palms on the knee. We bank fingertips behind the hips. We inhale and lengthen tall. On the exhale, we twist a bit deeper, sending that breath to the low spine, to the low back. And just taking your time, nice and soft and gentle as we warm up the body and wind down the day. As we exhale, we unwind back to center. On the inhale, we bring the palms to heart. We begin to rub those palms together, creating a little bit of heat. As we exhale, we'll place the palms over the eyes, making space between shoulders and ears. We immediately notice the darkness and we go inward. So here we are relying on all the other senses. Maybe we can hear the breath a bit clearer. Maybe our thoughts are a bit calmer. And here I just invite you to set an intention for your practice. Anything that resonates for you today. This could be a phrase or a word, a color. You may even want to dedicate your practice to someone who's not able to be here today. So just take a moment to connect with your breath and your intention, keeping the eyes covered, creating space between shoulders and ears. Choosing something to let go of today during our practice. Something that may have happened at work or you're planning for in the future. Just let go of those thoughts and let them float away. I like to make an imaginary to-do list, and I just write all of the little thoughts in my mind that are distracting me, and I write them down, and I just place them underneath my yoga mat. I know where to find them at the end of class, but right now we dedicate this time to stillness. We commit to being here right now. On our next exhale, we release palms back to knees, coming back to our yoga space. As we inhale, we reach the fingers far out in front. And you may want a yoga block here. It's up to you. Feel free to use the props. You might want to rest your head or rest the elbows on a block for support and height. Wherever you're at today, catching your breath in this new position as we send that breath to the low spine and the hips, releasing the back of the neck and the heaviness of the head. On our next inhale, we begin to lift halfway, walking the torso and the fingertips over to the right. As we again bow the head, we release the heaviness of the neck. We rest the head either on a block or on the knee, and just feeling into that side body today. Sending breath to the low rib cage, allowing the hips to peel off the mat if that's what they're doing. We find acceptance in our body, release any judgment. On the next inhale, we lift halfway, gently walking the torso over across center to the opposite side as we release and bow towards the bent knee. And again, in this position, we just find that stillness. Connect with that breath if you've lost it. As we inhale again, we gently walk the fingertips back to center and we bow one last time towards the floor. We release the head. We might use a block. Throughout our practice, I'll be walking around offering adjustments. If you're not interested in receiving an adjustment, feel free to just flip your palms face up right now so I can know to respect your space. Everything will be nice and subtle and gentle. As we inhale, we press through the palms and we restack the spine. We find ourselves once again in seated position. As we inhale, the knees to center. And we're just going to tuck or reach back and remove the blanket from underneath our sit bones. So from here, we start to roll the spine. We tuck. And on the inhale, we lift and lengthen. On the exhale, we tuck the chin and curve back. On the next inhale, we lift and lengthen again. And as we exhale, we release. Finding a nice rhythm, connecting with that breath. And again, inhaling, we lengthen. From here, we find some stillness on the sit bones. We start to bring the weight of the feet onto those tippy toes. So we'll walk them a bit closer as we gently lift the feet into our boat, placing the palms underneath the thighs. And so you may want to keep one leg down or both legs down. If you'd like to come all the way up, feel free. Just find a place that feels good for you today. Inhaling, we engage and reach the elbows into cactus. On the exhale, we find the palms on the sides of the hips. We cross the ankles and we lift just for a moment up off the mat. And on the exhale, we release down again. We come right back into our boat. We again anchor the fingers underneath the thighs. We activate the arms into our cactus. And on the exhale, let's cross the legs in the opposite way. We place the palms on the sides of the hips and then we lift just for a moment. Keep that breath, find that ujjayi bind. And then exhaling, we release, we come back to our boat. So here you may want to play around with extending a leg, maybe extending both legs, maybe trying it out and coming back. If you are feeling steady on those sit bones, we can release the palms and find some breath and stillness and strength. Noticing the heat in the core, the heat in the legs. And on the exhale, again, we cross those ankles, we place the palms on the sides of the hips and we lift. And as we exhale, we let go. So just taking a peek behind you, we're going to start rolling. So make sure you have some space. You might want to scooch forward just a bit, maybe remove some blocks, whatever's there. So here we start to, again, find ourselves in our boat position and then just rocking behind between shoulders and hips, creating a nice little roll. And this doesn't have to be big. You can keep it nice and small. Maybe you're here today. We're just warming up the spine, sending some nice fluids all the way through the body. And as we exhale, this next time we start to release the entire body onto the floor. So we inhale the fingertips up overhead. We extend, we reach as far as we can with the fingers and the toes. Full body stretch as if you're waking up for the first time or perhaps going to bed tonight. And on the exhale, we allow the heaviness of the body to sink into the floor. Again, we'll inhale, we'll reach through the fingers and reach through the toes, this time full body contraction. So we squeeze the fists, we flex the feet, we engage the quads, we squeeze the face and the glutes. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And as we exhale, we let go, feeling much more heavy. Allowing the breath to comb through the body. As we inhale, fingertips sweep overhead towards the hips and right knee meets with the hands as we draw the right knee into the chest. And then left knee will follow as we just gently guide those knees into a circular motion. Nice and slow and soft, taking your time, feeling into the tailbone. And we'll switch directions whenever you're ready. Remember that breath. As we find stillness here, we extend the left leg. The right knee will continue hugging into the chest. And we'll just give that left leg a couple shakes so it knows to let go. Shaking that left knee. And as we inhale, we continue drawing the right knee into the chest. On the next exhale, we allow that right knee to peel out to the side towards the shoulder. And supporting that knee with the hand, we bring some movement into the hip joint. We might lift and drop the knee. See how that feels. On the next exhale, we draw the right knee over and across the body into our spinal twist. So if you're modifying this pose, you may want to just be gentle and see how it feels. So with each inhale, we lengthen through the crown, and on the exhale, we look deeper over to the right fingertips. Extending the right arm to the side, relaxing the head. If you'd like a deeper stretch here, feel free to place the left palm on the top of the right thigh, pressing the leg away from the rib cage. And then inhaling the right arm up overhead, we reach through the fingertips. So a deeper stretch, a farther reach. And wherever you are, we'll just release and relax the arms. We'll start to unwind and unfold. Both the knees draw back into the chest. As we head over to the opposite side, we allow the left leg to tuck in, the right leg releases, and we just shake, encouraging the hip flexors to release, maybe rotating the ankles. On the next inhale, we draw left knee out to the shoulder, allowing it to fall to the side. We support the weight of the leg and just lifting and dropping, creating some movement here. When you're ready, we begin to exhale, drawing that knee up and over across the body, spinal twist on the opposite side. Allowing the knees to fall to one side, the gaze reaches for the opposite fingertips. Again, if you'd like a deeper stretch, you can place the palm on the top of that thigh, pressing away from the ribs. We inhale, we reach with the fingertips overhead. So big stretch, big release. And hold as long as you'd like. Whenever you're ready, we'll unwind, beginning to reconnect the spine, reconnect the hips to the floor as we draw both knees again into the chest, and just teetering from left to right. On the next exhale, we find stillness. We exhale the heels down to the floor. So about hip width apart. The knees draw in. The palms find the floor next to the hips. The shoulder blades tuck under, nice and flat, so the low back can press into the mat. On the next inhale, we begin to press through the heels. We start to lift into our half bridge. So we start to tuck the pelvis and then lift and peel the spine up off the floor. One vertebrae at a time, we slowly get closer to the ceiling, noticing the back of the neck lengthen. On the exhale, we start to reconnect and unwind. The spine slowly comes down, once again finding the floor. A big inhale when we release, and we come back in, so we begin to press the heels through. We begin to tuck the pelvis. We start to peel the spine up and off the floor. When you reach your peak here, we begin to inhale deeply and then rolling the shoulders gently underneath, we start to clasp the fingers underneath the hips. Or reaching the fingers together towards each other. Finding that nice deep breath in this new position. When you're ready, we start to unclasp the hands, begin to unpeel, reconnect with the floor. Nice and slow, we make our way back to our mats. On the next inhale, again, we press through the heels, we come back into our half bridge once again. This time we grab for our block that's just next to us. We place the block underneath the hips. So you can choose your height of the block, nice and low, maybe on the side, super tall. You can even use 2 blocks if you'd like. So we release the heaviness of the body into that block. We bring that awareness back to our breath. When you're feeling steady here, we start to lift the left knee up towards the chest. We lift the right knee to meet the left. And if you need to come down at any time to readjust, feel free. So we just find balance on top of the block with our hips. If you're feeling comfy, we'll extend the legs into the air. The toes will reach towards the ceiling as we begin pointing and flexing those feet. Maybe even rolling the ankles. If it's in your practice to move into shoulder stand, we're going there next. If shoulder stand is new to you, feel free to watch first or just stay here. So basically, you're going to roll the shoulders underneath the body, place the palms underneath the hips as we slightly bend the knees towards the forehead, and we lift up, supporting the low spine. When you're ready, we start to extend the legs towards the ceiling. And then we'll stay here for a few deep breaths. Taking your time, noticing to make some space between the chin and the collarbones. You might feel comfortable placing the palms underneath the hips to support yourself. And if you're feeling steady here, we begin to open the legs out into a nice V shape. So just playing around with some movement here. We allow the inner thighs to relax, the hamstrings to rest. Whenever you're ready, we start to draw the inner thighs back together. We start to drop the toes behind the head into our plow position. So maybe the toes will reach towards the floor, or maybe they'll hover over the mat. Creating always that space between the chin and the collarbones. If you feel comfortable bending the knees here on the sides of the temple, we squeeze the knees into the sides of the face. We again release the feet. We get deeper with each exhale. And again, just only go as far as you're comfortable. You can come out at any time. Whenever you're ready, we start to unwind. We draw the knees away from the face. We extend the legs one last time. And from here, we start to cross the right leg over the left. And then we bend the knees. We'll bring those knees back to the forehead. Inhaling, we lift and lengthen, we unwind, we again cross the opposite knee over the opposite leg. You might even be able to bind the toes. Just check in with where you're at. We drop the knees down to the forehead. As we exhale, we unwind, we unwrap the legs. We start to slowly drop the hips back down to the mat. We might find that block. We might want to move the block before we get there. Wherever you're at, the feet come back down. Good. And when we do find the mat, once again, we'll place that block to the side. We'll place the palms on the edges of the hips. The feet will be hip width apart as we begin to drop both knees over to the right side. So windshield wipering the legs as we inhale up through center, we'll move to the left side. So you can take your time, go a little faster, a little slower. Maybe hang out on one side if that feels really good. And that next time we come through center, we'll find some stillness. Again, we'll inhale the right leg, we'll cross over the left side. We'll extend the arms just a bit wider on the floor so they can anchor the body weight. As we exhale, we'll drop over to the left side. Spinal twist again, just a bit different version. Good, so hang out here and find that breath. Modify as needed. Noticing how each exhale we release and relax a bit more. And if you notice your mind beginning to wander, try to bring it back to that intention, that mantra we set. Something as simple as I am inhaling, I am exhaling. We're all practicing together. As we inhale, we draw the knees back to center. We start to unwind the legs and we head over to the opposite side. The left leg crosses over right. We again anchor through the palms on the floor as the knees drop over to the right side. So we allow the heaviness of the legs to pull us over. We gaze towards the opposite fingertips. And just slowly unpeeling the layers of the day, coming back to yourself, come back to that core energy of who you are and where you feel most comfortable, most supported. Another big inhale here. On the exhale, we start to unwind. We release the legs. We start to root the heels back into the mat. On the inhale, we start to roll over to one side as we begin to press the torso up. We gently roll over to the belly side. And if you're modifying, you might want to stay on your side body here. So we lay onto the floor. We place the palms next to the chest. On the inhale, we start to lift the head, roll the shoulders back. We come into our cobra. And if you're on your side, we'll start to just lift through the side body. Good. So we inhale. On the exhale, we'll release the head down to the opposite ear. Again, inhaling, we'll lift and lengthen. We'll reach through the crown of the head. We'll press the toes into the floor. We'll lift the kneecaps and squeeze the quads. And then drop the shoulders down, nice flat. And then exhaling, releasing the opposite ear once again. So whichever shoulder you're looking over, we're going to reach back with that hand, kicking up that heel. And then clasping the foot or the ankle or maybe the sock or the leg. So from here, we just press the hips into the mat. So still holding on to your foot, we begin to kick into the hand, creating some tension in the front of the leg, the front hip flexors. We kick and then we pull back with the hand, creating some tension. And still holding on to the foot, we start to release and pull deeper and closer to the glute. On the exhale, we release that leg. We reach over and look past the opposite shoulder. We kick back with the left heel. We clasp onto that left foot. So we'll just switch sides, pressing the hips into the mat and releasing that left hip flexor. Good, relaxing the neck, relaxing the head. So from here, we start to kick into the hand with the foot. We pull back with the hand. We create some tension in the leg. We start to fatigue the muscles, so we contract and relax, so that when we do exhale this next time, we release the kick, but we keep holding onto the foot and we pull deeper with the leg. We get deeper into the stretch. And on the next exhale, we let go. We allow the leg to fall out. This next time, we'll place the head looking forward. The chin will rest on the mat. As we inhale, we lift the torso, and then extending the fingertips beyond the hips, towards the feet. And if you're modifying whichever side you're on, we can do the same. We can maybe reach through the fingertips. Wonderful. From here, we'll kick the feet up and we clasp the ankles. We'll come into our full bow. So here you'll feel the belly breath between the hips and the rib cage. And then just keep finding that breath. Keep pressing those hips into the floor. Keep lifting the head, lifting the chest. On the next exhale, we let go and release. We unwind. We sink into the floor. Inhaling, we'll place palms on the sides of the chest once again. The elbows squeeze in, and we inhale. We lift a bit higher. We place the forearms down into our Sphinx posture. So pressing through and up the chest. We lengthen again through the crown of the head. The fingers are nice and wide. We press into the palms. We press into the elbows. And then we bring that awareness to the legs. So we lift the kneecaps. We engage the thighs. And then the toes might lift off the floor one at a time. Playing around, seeing where you're at. And as we exhale, we'll come back down. We'll release the palms again to the sides of the rib cage. As we inhale, we'll press up and back as we find our child's pose. So allowing the hips to rest on the heels, the belly to fall forward, the knees come nice and wide, so the whole torso can rest. Good. So catching your breath here, finding some space in the low spine. As we inhale here, we start to shift up and forward, so we bring the body into a tabletop position. And then we start to walk the palms slightly forward as we drop the hips in front, and then the legs can either lie flat or tuck up. As we inhale, we reach towards the ceiling. On the exhale, we lift again, and we come back into our child's pose. So taking a few deep breaths in child's, releasing down, spreading the knees. Good. As we inhale again, we shift through center. We undulate the spine. We come back into our modified up dog with the legs behind. As we open the chest, we drop the hips. And if this is intense for the wrists, you can always come onto the elbows if that feels better. Taking a nice big inhale. On the exhale, we lift the hips and come back to our child's pose. Allowing the knees to splay. Again, we inhale, we shift through center, we find our tabletop position. So we'll move into our cat-cow from here. So stacking the wrists underneath shoulders, the knees underneath hips. We start to inhale, we lift the eyes to the ceiling. We drop the belly down. On the exhale, we tuck the chin, we curve the spine. On the inhale again, we lift the eyes, we drop the belly. On the exhale, we tuck the chin and curve the spine. So a few more nice deep breaths here. We'll keep this rhythm. I invite you to close the eyes and relax the face and really feel into the spine here. Bring that attention to the mid-spine, the low spine, the upper spine. This is your chance to get into all the nitty-gritties, all the little spots that don't get any attention. So send that breath to any pain spots or tension spots, and feel free to hang out if it feels really good in one area. And just remember to keep coming back to that breath. We're all going to look a little bit different, and that's okay. Just keep going. As we gently move through center, wherever you are, we'll start to find that center spot. We begin to gaze over the left shoulder towards the left toes. We allow the hips to fall to the side. With a nice deep breath, we inhale, we'll shift through center and head to the opposite side. So allowing the hips to fall, we reach with the eyes. And again, just keeping this nice rhythm, left and right. We relax the face, we relax the eyes, we keep that breath. Nice openness for the low spine, for the hips. On the exhale, we start to find center once again. We begin to root through the left hand, and then threading the right arm underneath, we drop the shoulder to the floor. We drop the head to the floor. You might want to play around with spreading the knees a bit wider, whatever feels good to you, so the hips will stay nice and high as we move into that shoulder. If you'd like a deeper stretch here, we can place or extend the left leg out, so more weight shifts into the right shoulder. Good, extending through the legs, extending through the toes. And again, just take care of yourself. If you go too far, you can always come back. As we exhale, we release that knee. We start to unwind. We head over to the opposite side. So planking the right hand, we start to thread that left arm underneath. And we drop the shoulder down. The hips are nice and tall. And we can just rest here. If you'd like a deeper stretch, you can extend the right leg behind, and just moving that weight into the left shoulder. We extend through the toes, extend through the leg. On the next inhale, we drop the knee, we start to unwind once again. We reconnect, we find that tabletop position. And on the exhale, we widen those knees. We come right back to our child's pose. And then we rest the head, releasing down. Feel free to use that block if you need. Good, coming back to that breath. On our next inhale, we start to lift and lengthen. We come back to our tabletop We start to tuck the toes and we lift the hips. We find that first dog of the evening. We start to walk the heels and pedal the legs. We wag that tail. We spread the fingers nice and wide. We notice how the breath might change here. And we just notice and bring it back. As we exhale, we find stillness with the legs. We start to shift the left hand to center. We inhale the right hand to meet the left knee. One arm dog. So active legs, draw the kneecaps up, engage the thighs. Try and make space between that left shoulder and left ear. On the exhale, we start to release the right palm. We switch places. We lift the left palm to meet the right knee. We again make that space between the shoulder and the ear. We engage the thighs. We spread the feet nice and wide. We notice that breath. Nice heat in the body. On the exhale, we release that left palm, and coming back to our home base of down dog, we again pedal those knees. Feel into the hamstrings. Finding stillness here, we start to inhale onto the tippy toes. So heels lift up. On the exhale, heels will drop. Inhaling, lifting tippy toes. Exhale, heels will drop down. Once again, inhaling, tippy toes. Exhale, release. On our next inhale, we begin to shift weight from feet to hands, so we move forward into our plank position. You'll find, again, those tippy toes, and we'll just hold here for a few deep breaths. If this is intense, feel free to drop those knees, or maybe play around with just one knee down. Draw the shoulders back and down. On the exhale, we'll either release the knees or we'll lower all the way down to the belly. On the inhale, we find our nice up dog. Lifting through, either moving through the knees or rolling over the toes. We start to lift again into our down dog. And finding 5 deep breaths here. Good, reaching through the heels, spreading the fingers nice and wide. We press through the chest. We keep finding that nice deep breath. Lifting the hips towards the ceiling. As we inhale here, again, we shift through plank. We bring that weight over the hands. We find that breath. On the exhale, we come back to our down dog. Inhaling, we lift the right leg up behind the body. We start to open the right hip to the right side of the room. We drop the heel behind the hips, behind the sit bones. And then just noticing how that weight has shifted into the left arm. So we'll bring some weight back to the right side. We'll even up the shoulders. We'll still reach through the chest and lift the hip. As we exhale, we shift the body weight back to our plank. We draw right knee to right elbow. Finding a breath here. Exhaling, we'll kick back once again. On the inhale, we draw forward into our plank, right knee to right elbow. And exhale, we have 2 more. On the inhale, we shift forward, right knee to right elbow. Exhale, we lift back up. We have 1 more to go. If you need to lower onto the knee, just modify, keep moving. We just adjust a bit lower and then extend here. Releasing the right leg, we find that down dog once again. We're going to switch sides. So inhaling, we lift left leg up. We open the hip to the side room. We drop heel behind sit bones. We engage that right thigh. And again, we check in with the weight between left and right sides. And we really spread the fingers nice and wide, shifting that weight. On the exhale, we shift into our plank, left knee to left elbow. Find your breath here. As we exhale, we'll kick back. We release down. Inhale, forward again, left knee to left elbow. We keep that strong plank. Exhale, one-legged dog. We have 2 to go. Keep that breath. Inhale, left knee to left elbow. If you need to modify, bring that opposite leg down. We continue with that flow. And as you kick back this next time, we'll release, we'll find that down dog. As we exhale, we drop down to the knees, and keeping the toes tucked, we walk the hands back to the legs. We shift that weight over the hips. Maybe tucking in those pinky toes, we'll just find some rest here, opening up the arches of the feet, the Achilles. And we inhale, we start to roll the shoulders up and out. And then leaning forward wherever you are, we start to reverse the hands. So we stretch the wrists out just a bit. So maybe putting pressure into the left side and then the right side. Just seeing how that feels. And then we'll come back, we'll press back to seated. We'll inhale the palms to the heart. On the exhale, the palms again find the mat. We start to walk the palms forward. We tuck the toes and lift into our down dog. We start to gaze towards the fingertips and gently walking the feet to meet the hands. We just allow the torso to rest and dangle, maybe clasping onto the elbows. We start to sway from left to right. And always feel free to bend those knees if that feels good. Release the pressure in the legs. Release the back of the neck. As we find stillness here, we place left palm on the middle of the floor between toes. As we bend the left knee, we straighten the right leg. We open to the right side. The fingertips reach towards the ceiling. Again, those shoulders come away from the ears. We stack the right side on top of left side, and then we gaze towards the fingertips. And then find that breath. Again, if this is too much, just bend both of those knees. You might even want to support the torso on top of the knee if it's too much. We also have our blocks if you'd like some height. As we exhale, we unwind, we release the neck. We plant the right palm on the floor. We bend the right knee. We straighten the left leg. We open to the left side. So reaching through those fingertips. And then making space between shoulders and ears, we open the chest. The left side is stacking over the right. Finding your breath here. On the exhale, we unwind and release. And let's just bend those knees a couple times. We'll bend and straighten. We'll release the head and some yes and no motions. From here, we start to gently walk the feet together. And then slowly drawing the torso up to seated. So we gently lift to standing. As we find ourselves at the top of our mat, we'll inhale, sweeping fingertips overhead. On the exhale, we swan dive forward, hinging from the hip. Releasing the back of the neck, inhaling, lifting, flat spine. Exhale, the palms find the outsides of the pinky toes as we either jump or gently step back, finding that plank. So we move through to our chaturanga, our high to low plank, nice and slow. And then inhale, we find our up dog. On the exhale, we roll over the knees or the toes. We find that down dog. Inhaling, left leg sweeps up and back. Exhaling, left knee sweeps forward. We find that nice low lunge. So we drop the right knee, we untuck those toes. And feel free to have a block here. We're going to go a little bit deeper. So allowing that left knee to splay open. We're just going to come onto the elbows if that's available to you. Allowing that left knee to reach as far as it's able. Or maybe you come all the way back down onto the mat. We release the head. Go ahead and stay in here for a few deep breaths. Nice right side opener. On the inhale, we lift the hips, we straighten the front leg. And then pointing and flexing that left toe, we start to bow the head forward. And again, we inhale, we come deep into our lizard lunge. And if you'd like to go even deeper, feel free to drop the elbows onto that block or maybe onto the floor, allowing that left knee to splay out to the side. Good, keep breathing. If you need to come out halfway, you can always let up the pressure, come out, and then come back in. As we inhale, we'll press hips back behind once again. We straighten the front leg, and again, we bow the head, we point and flex the toes. And as we inhale this next time, we start to shift forward. We bend the front knee. The palms find the top of that front knee. From here, we start to inhale and lengthen and get a bit taller. And then exhale, we'll come back down. Inhaling, we lift and lengthen. On the exhale, we come down. Once again, inhaling, lift. And as we get deep, we'll come just about halfway lifting. Inhaling, sweeping the fingertips. Exhaling, finding the heart center. On the inhale, we airplane the arms open. And then we bring the hands into that cactus. So creating lots of space, we drop the shoulder blades. And then just rotating into the rotator cuffs, into the shoulders. We drop forward. We lift up again. And so keep going here. If you notice that your pelvis is tipping forward, we want to tuck the pelvis and lift a bit higher. And then drop the rib cage down. Open the chest. On the exhale, the palms find each other. We start to bank the right elbow on left knee as we twist. And either the gaze is at the toes, or you can start shifting the gaze past the elbow. So big opener on that right side. Think about engaging the right leg as well. So instead of just falling into it, we engage and we squeeze, we lift. We want to always be lengthening through the spine. On the exhale here, we stay. We start to tuck the back toe. And if it's available to you to lift the back leg, we go there. If you're not quite there yet, we just tuck the toe, we hold. Or if you'd like to play around with lifting, you might release the one arm onto a block, and we'll practice lifting from here. Lift and drop so we can tone and strengthen. For those of you, actually for everyone, we can all extend our arms to full posture. Even if you're supporting on one side, we'll extend the arm. And whenever you're ready, we start to unwind. We come back down. We place the palms on the insides of the foot, and we switch back into our down dog. We root through those toes. And let's just pedal those heels again. On the next inhale, we lift the right side up and back. On the next inhale, we sweep the right leg forward. We find that lizard lunge on the opposite side. We untuck those back toes. And then we allow the right knee to fall out to begin. If you're feeling it, we start to come a bit lower. We can use that block again. We can come deep onto the elbows. And just doing your best to support wherever you're at today. We release the back of the neck. We sink deep. On our next inhale, the palms find the floor as we press the chest up. The hips will come back, the front leg will straighten. As we bow the head, we start to point and flex the toes. Good, feeling into those hamstrings. As we inhale, we gently walk forward once again, coming just a bit deeper this time. So same stretch. If it's available to you to come all the way down, we just get a bit deeper. We allow the knee to fall out to the side. On the next inhale, we start to press again, lifting torso. And then bowing once again towards the knee, we point and flex. On the next inhale, the knee comes forward. We come into that deep lunge, but palms find the top of the knee. We get a little bit taller here. So lengthening, straightening the front leg. Exhaling, we come deep. And then we keep moving through this rhythm, keeping that breath. Inhale and exhale. And as we find center here, becoming nice and tall, we sweep the fingertips out. We exhale the palms to the heart. We extend the arms into our airplane. We draw the hands into cactus and then begin to rotate into those shoulders. Fingers are nice and active. Strong, healthy bodies. Fluid and calm breath. And one last time as we inhale, we lift the palms, we exhale palms together, we place elbow onto knee, and we twist over that right side. So the gaze can either be at the toes, Good, so you'll feel that nice twist in the side body. And just finding your gaze either on the floor or past the elbow behind. If it's available to you to tuck the back toes, we'll lift the back leg, engaging that left quad. If you'd like to extend the arms, reaching out. And again, you can always support yourself with one hand on the floor. If this full posture is not available to you, still extend through that right side. Open up through the side body. You got it. And as we exhale, we release, we drop the back knee and tuck the back toes. We start to sweep the right leg back. We find that down dog once again, and we start to pedal the heels. On the inhale, we begin to gaze towards the fingers. We bend the knees and we hop forward so the feet land on the outsides of the pinky toes. So we're going to come into this nice warrior goddess squat. So we drop the heels. Maybe you're on those tippy toes, so you just find that balance there. And we just kind of rock left and right if that's available to you. If this feels too intense, feel free to bring the weight into the hands and just move into the hips this way. So we come nice and deep. Good. Keep feeling into it. And then we find some stillness here. We lengthen through the crown. On the exhale, we begin to place the palms in front of us. So we start to inch the shoulders underneath the knees, and we play around with our crow pose. So we start to shift the weight into the elbows and the forearms. And just have fun with this one. We're all at really different levels, so no need to compare. We just practice, we shift. Maybe your toes don't even leave the floor, and that's okay. We just keep that breath. Maybe you're in full posture and you're holding strong. Good. When you're ready, we'll come all the way out. We'll release onto those toes. And let's just reverse the wrists once again. We'll hold here. We're going to come back in one more time. So placing the palms out front, we'll start to inch the shoulders underneath the elbows. And if you want to just keep playing with one foot and then the next foot, or just kind of rocking back and forth to strengthen the muscles. As we come out this time, you can either jump back into your plank, or we can gently walk back, finding our chaturanga high to low plank. And then we move through our vinyasa, finding your up dog. And then rolling back to your down dog. From here, we inhale left leg behind. We sweep left knee forward. We root through the feet, and we inhale into our crescent. So the back toes are rooting through the heels up off the floor. Good. So find that focus spot on the floor to gaze at. Again, if the belly is pulling forward, we start to lift the pelvis and drop the rib cage. Stacking the spine. And here we extend the elbows again into that cactus. So we drop the back knee, we'll come down a little deeper, and then come right back up. We'll lift tall. And then exhale, we'll come out. Inhale, we'll lift. If you lose your balance, just come back in. And then lift nice and strong. On the exhale, hover. As we lift this time, we'll come into our warrior two. So drop the back heel, we open and splay the arms. So we can check in here with the heels so that the heel and the arch are lined up nice. The thighs are externally rotating, the hips are pushing forward. And then we reach strong through the fingertips. And wherever you're at, we try to keep that knee behind the toe. So on the inhale, we reach through the fingertips as far as you can. We'll inhale through center, we'll reach through the back fingertips as far as you can. And then once again on both sides through the front, reaching, and then exhaling. And then we'll just find that center spot that feels really nice. We'll hang out here. We're going to exhale left elbow onto left knee. We inhale, we reach the opposite arm overhead. Maybe gazing at the floor still, maybe gazing past the elbow or the fingertips. And then find your strength and breath here. Nice heat in the body. Maybe getting a little bit deeper in that front knee. And if it's available to you to drop that left hand to the floor. So here you might want to use a block for some length. You might want to even walk the feet a bit closer so you can get down. And then we again readjust and extend the arm. Good, holding here. Pressing through the outside of that back foot. Pressing through the toes of the front foot. And as we exhale, we lift the torso. We come to standing straight legs, and we gently just hop the front foot back just a tad. Inhaling, we'll reach the hands behind the body, interlace the fingers as we straighten and open the chest. From here, we start to bend into the front knee. And again, releasing the torso into our humble warrior. We find rest and strength in this position. Release the back of the neck. Good, nice strong quads. On the inhale, we lift again. We release the fingertips. We start to gently hop the back foot forward. So here you may want to block close by. You may even want to come onto the hard floor. So we're going to come into warrior three. So shifting the weight, we start to first tip forward, reaching fingertips behind the body. And eventually we're going to reach down for that block. So feel free to get it in place wherever you are. So we find that balance here. You may want to bring your arms into airplane, maybe even play around with arms out front, arms shooting behind the body. We're just playing with balance here. On the exhale, we start to extend and lower the hands towards the floor or that block. And then lifting the back leg, we drop the head. We start to tuck. Good, so find your breath. If you need to come out, come out. Just come right back in. On the next exhale, we start to drop the right knee behind the body onto the floor. So we drop down and then we find a seat. And we're in our seated spinal twist. On the inhale, we draw that left knee into chest. Exhaling, we twist across. And again, if you need to modify, just make some space. On the inhale, we unwind. We place the top of the leg kind of resting on that front knee. We start to, bow all the way down, releasing the back of the neck. On the inhale, we lift the chest and we start to just sweep that left leg behind. We find the knees again and we start to walk those hands. We'll tuck the toes and come right back to our home base. Our lovely down dog. We'll separate the feet about hip width apart. We spread those fingers. On the next inhale, we start to lift the right leg up behind. On the exhale, right leg sweeps forward. So crescent on the opposite side, we lift the torso. Those toes are rooting through the floor. If you notice the belly falling forward, we start to just tuck and drop the rib cage. Maybe getting a little bit deeper if that feels comfortable to you. And on the exhale, we start to drop the back heel. We move into our warrior two. And then just checking in with those heels, the heel and the arch will be nice and lined up. From here, we'll start to reach as far as we can through the front fingers and then all the way through the back fingers. And then once again, we'll just reach as far as we can. And then through the back. And we'll find that nice center spot here. We'll hang out for a moment. We'll notice the thighs externally rotating. We press through the back foot. We spread the toes nice and wide. On the exhale, we bank the elbow. We sweep the opposite arm overhead. So we always make that space between shoulders and ears. Good, hanging out here for a few breaths. Good. Find that focus spot. If it's available to you to drop a bit lower, we'll drop that right palm on the inside of the leg. So here you may want that block again. Gives you some nice length so you can get a bit deeper. On the next inhale, we begin to lift up. We straighten the front leg. We start to gently hop the back foot forward. We start to interlace the fingers behind. And then straightening, as we open the chest, we start to bow into that front knee, releasing the torso. We come into our humble warrior. Release the neck, release the head. We find lots of strength in the legs here. Lots of heat in the body. So the body will always follow the breath. Try and come back to that steady, calm breathing pattern. As we inhale, we release, we come forward. We begin to hop again with the back foot. We start to move into our warrior one. So we might want that block again. We might want to come onto the hard floor as we begin to tip the body forward. So the hips shine towards the floor as we reach. And you can always play around with those arms into airplane or maybe all the way forward, maybe reaching through behind the body. When you're ready, we start to tip forward. We find the fingers on the floor. we might use that block. Really nice. Keep that breath. We tuck the chin. We lift the leg. And on the inhale, we start to bow the back leg down. We find a seat on our cushion. We start to come into our spinal twist as we hug the knee to center. And on the exhale, we twist over the, and then finding that breath, we inhale and exhale deep. On the next exhale, we start to unwind. We'll drop the front knee and we start to bow forward. As we inhale, we lift and lengthen. We start to extend the legs, reaching the fingertips overhead. We just start to pull the torso towards the legs, towards the ankles. You might want to bend those knees and then play around with straightening them a bit. But we do release that back of the neck always. As we inhale, we lift and lengthen. And then we just kind of scooch the body forward. We're going to shift into our final resting pose of Savasana. As we release the whole body, we allow the palms to face the ceiling. The toes will splay out to the sides. And we just give ourselves permission to release and relax and let go here. This is your time to absorb the practice, absorb the energy you've created. And I'll just be walking around with some blankets and eye pillows. we gently begin to bring that awareness to our exhale and our inhale, we begin to notice the heaviness of the body sinking into the floor. We notice the support of the mat underneath our head and our shoulders and our hips and our feet. As we bring that awareness to the crown of the head, we start to inhale deeply through the nose. We send that breath to the face as we relax the eyebrows and the chin and the jaw, the backs of the eyes. We send more breath to the cheekbones and the ears, wrapping breath around the base of the skull as we send that breath over the shoulders and down the arms to the palms of the hands. And we inhale deeply through the palms, shifting weight and sending that breath back up the arms to the heart center. Feeling the heart open and receptive. On our next exhale, we begin to bring awareness to our fingers and our toes as we come back to our yoga space, shifting that breath. And whenever you're ready, we just start to roll over onto one side. We allow the pillows and blankets to fall wherever they do. We gently take a moment to transition, supporting the head on the neck. Taking a nice deep breath here before we begin to press the torso back to seated. And we find ourselves in a comfortable seated position once again, so the spine is supported, the breath is easy. On the inhale, we lift the shoulders to the ears and we roll them back once again. Inhaling, sweeping fingertips out to the side. We exhale the palms back to the heart. We just take a moment for ourselves to give thanks for this gift of calm movement tonight. As we move forward throughout the rest of the evening and our week, may we find peace in our thoughts, peace in our words, and peace in our heart. Thank you all so much for practicing. Namaste. I have some tea for you all if you'd like to stay. Hi. This is white peach today.
White peach. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. Would you like some tea? It's white peach.
Oh, thank you.
White peach tea.
Thank you.
Sure. White peach. White peach tea. Sure. Would you like some white peach tea?
Sure.
Awesome.
This one of the things we sip out this place
Yay.
for diagnosis and this one's not.
Yeah. How was it for you? Good? Awesome. Oh, good. I'm so glad. I think you modified perfectly. It's just like kind of watching you like, yeah, it works. Yeah.